Good morning, everybody. It is an eventing morning, or at least I hope it is, because we're pretty waterlogged here. How are you doing, my buddies? I am very excited because I am hoping that we are going eventing this morning. Well, I say this morning, my times, I don't do dressage until 3:15 this afternoon. But the venue we are going to is a long way away. It's in Cheshire, which I think is going to take us around 2.5 hours or so to get there. I wouldn't normally aim to travel quite so far, but our event on Wednesday got abandoned due to the ground, so we have quickly rerouted to Bradwall Manor today. It's a venue I'd never heard of before doing my research on where I could enter, but from what research I have done, it looks like the loveliest place, old Parkland, so I'm hoping it's going to be worth the trip. Like I say, we had torrential rain last night, didn't we, Beastie? He says we did have torrential rain. We had torrential rain last night, and we are pretty waterlogged here. There's water sitting everywhere. I haven't had an abandonment text come through yet, so we will see how it is when we get there.
Hi, let's go.
Alright, let's take a look at our weather forecast today.
Today's forecast, a lot of sunshine, blue skies, marine clouds. Just a perfect day to go outside and relax. That's your forecast. We'll be right back.
Yeah, sunny days, sunny days, sunny days. No clouds in the sky, about to get away. Feels like it's been a freaking decade. Sorry, don't call me cause I'm gonna be on break. Sunny day, make way. All the stress and doubt, yeah, not today. Feels like it's been a freaking decade. Sorry, don't call me cause I'm gonna be on break. Got the Tropicana, fresh cut sushi on a platter. Brandy, honey, it don't matter shots. Till I drop, gonna be 24/7, golden hour like a boss. And they say, yo, guess you got a 2 o'clock appointment for a champagne shot, whoa, yeah. I'm busy trying to take it higher, got no time for never, only spending cheddar. Wish I could do this forever. Chilling with the hottest company, they all wanna welcome me to their private penthouse suite. Yeah, now I got the key. Rooftop pool, got a heli on speed. Ocean view from the highest peak. I'm complete, oh, I want this to stay. Please don't go.
Okay, we're here. It's raining a little bit. Maggie is having brunch, or probably proper lunch by now, and we are going to go walk the course, aren't we? Poor girlie.
I look up to the sky to remind me. I look left, I look right behind me. In one moment you were there, in the next glance you're gone. I keep my head up and my voice tall, just how you'd wanted me to. With my arms outstretched for you to find me, around in circles I get so dizzy till I can't see. I will not hide any longer. I am spinning around. Won't you catch me for old times?
Oh, guys, I'm not happy with the ground for Maggie. There's places that is beautiful, and there's places that is like nearly 2 foot deep where there's been hoof prints yesterday, and I think it's a wonderful course, but it's not the course to do on this going for her. So I'm giving the dogs a walk. I'm finding our way out. They're towing people off at the minute. The rain's actually stopped, but I am also second to last to go of the whole event, and I want to save her for another day. She's too precious, and I don't have the confidence and the experience to ride her around like a professional might, and given she's so careful, it's, you know, today isn't the day, and I am not the one. Okay, so as you can see, we got towed off. So while we were walking the course, it rained the whole time and the ground continued deteriorating. So when we got stuck in the lorry, it really confirmed my decision to withdraw Maggie. It wasn't the right ground for us, and we decided to go and make something of the day by going cross-country schooling. We don't usually get to go to Somerford because it's so far away, and I knew there was some really good owl holes there, so I was like, you know what we can do? We can go and get our practice in. So we went and scouted out the owl holes pretty early on, and I went and had a pop through, and she's starting to get better, I think. Really starting to jump better. It's quite interesting. I don't like having to change plans last minute. And interestingly, I actually ended up riding really tentatively this day. I think, you know, because I ended up changing what I was doing and not quite knowing where I was and what we were doing. So it was probably a good job we withdrew anyway. My riding doesn't look bad looking back on these videos, but I knew within myself that I was not as attacking and as confident as I usually am. And that instantly transfers to Maggie. So you can see she's popping stuff really quite brilliantly, and I was really happy with her way of going, but I just wasn't happy with how I was riding, to be honest. And that's just something for me to work on with our mindset. We're jumping some big stuff. It's just having a bit more self-belief and a bit more sort of gumption, I guess. You know, if I want to withdraw from an event because I don't think it's right, then that's fair enough. I know my horse quite well, and I have our best interests at heart, to be honest, and Mum is ever supportive with everything that we do. So the other thing that's great about Somerford is we have lots of water to do. So owl holes and water, two other things Maggie strongly dislikes. So we went and made the most of it. Came around little chip in, little trot and pop down off of the drop, but quite confident. Here she was like, oh, I hate that. And I made her go. We would have technically got a refusal for the step back there, but I shouldn't have pointed her at this boat in the water here. That was my mistake. Our confidence had gone down at the fence in between, and I should have gone, right, let's do a loop round. And instead I sort of just carried on. And I'd say that's sort of how I was thinking, I was feeling indecisive. So I came round and popped it again, and Maggie went, okay, Mum, I forgot the memo now, chipped a little one in. And the same for the fence in the water. It's quite an optical illusion for them jumping in water, because they don't know where their landing and takeoff spot is and how big the fence is, because you've got to bear in mind that the ground line is technically the top of the water for them. So that's quite interesting when you watch horses jump in water. I think they're very clever to assess the height. So at this stage, I went off and was stringing stuff together. You can see what an amazing facility Somerford is. It's such a shame that it's so far away and we can't go more regularly. I think I need to plan some days in. And again, you can just see we're just a little bit chicken, but that's where Maggie's picking up on me. I am 100% sure. And I was meant to be turning right after this and going and doing the coffin, but I think I'd made the decision just to go and flow some fences together and try and get my blood up a little bit so that I was riding a bit more brave. I am a brave rider, but I am also naturally cautious as well. So then when you combine Maggie and she's quite cautious, I'm quite cautious, and we both have to put our big girl pants on when we want to do the bigger stuff. And we're both perfectly capable, and as you can see, once we get our blood up a bit, it all starts to flow so much better, but it just has to be in the right place. So then we came to do this coffin, and she pops through really sweetly, shoves her hind legs down the ditch. She drives me slightly mad with that. If the ditch isn't scary enough, she just steps in it, but it makes me nervous in case she ever steps in a deep one, but that's why she has good leg protection on. She's never jumped a fence underneath a roof before. I can't say that I think I've ever jumped a fence underneath a roof before, and she did that really well. Really good to make the most of these wacky fences, because you never know what you're going to come up against on the cross-country course. So knowing that she didn't like owl holes, I wanted to go and jump that fence underneath the barn, and she did it really well. On a braver day, I'd have jumped this house on the way in, but as you can tell, I was just trying to build our confidence up a bit on mine. But she comes and pops this with the quite steep slope really, really well. She's straight as a die, isn't she? So I was pleased with that. Then I thought I'd do a slightly trickier combi. So on the principle of getting my blood up a little bit first, I went and popped a nice let-up fence, and Maggie absolutely flew over it. And then we were going to come round, and I was just doing a big old loop round, and we're going to do 2 offset shoulder brushes, which you'll see which ones they are in just a second. And they were very, very offset. I would imagine this would be an intermediate question. I would say it's more than novice, because they were both leaning sideways, and I just went on the cautious 4 rather than on the attacking 3. They were pretty large, and then we continued on to that big trachena, and she just flew over it. So it shows how our confidence was growing. Then we went to finish off with the second water complex, made the most of all of the drops, did everything really just relaxed. And, you know, Maggie's got to do it because she wants to do it. That's the important thing. We both enjoy the competing, and if I ever thought that she wasn't enjoying it, I wouldn't be continuing. But she is very cautious with water, which in turn makes me aware that she might have a bit of a look at something. So the more water schooling, the better in my eyes. And again, look at these jumps. So you look at the top of the water, that looks like the bottom of the fence. So they've got to then realise that they need to add an extra bit of height on, which Maggie has. But she's not done much jumping of fences in water. And obviously there was that fence in the water at Bradwall when we walked the course. So I thought we best crack this jumping fences in waterlock, because we're going to come up against it. So we just kept jumping all of the options in that we could. Here we got a little fence, and then 2 drops down, and then we went and jumped the other fence that was in the water. And she's really starting to get to grips with it now, really starting to school round relax. It's not happening with speed or adrenaline here. It's just canter and pop. And I felt like I was getting my feel and my swing back into it. And then there was a coffin over here, so that was quite nice to pop over. And she wouldn't dream of putting her feet in the ditch that she was jumping over there, because the ditch was really deep and had water in it. Then we did a bigger drop in, which had a slope down to it as well, so it sets you off balance. She sat herself back lovely, and that was a really big drop in, as you can see, about as tall as her, and she popped straight off of it. So I was so chuffed with her. And that was it. I think we actually made quite good of an unfortunate situation of, you know, nobody can help the rain, and realistically the event had done everything they could. The people were so lovely, and I'll definitely be going back to Bradwall when we've had a bit of a better run-up of conditions beforehand. But the fact that we were able to nip to Somerford, which was 10 minutes down the road, I was really chuffed with, because actually we managed to still have a good outing with Miss Moo, who was supremely offended that I was washing her off with a cold hose pipe. Poor Maggie. Well, that wasn't what we had in mind, but I think it was very useful to come here cross-country schooling. It's just been one of those days a little bit with the event. It's funny, we've been having a look and there's been at least 20 people withdraw before going cross-country today, so it's obviously not just me who wasn't too keen to run their horses. I mean, to be honest, the event did everything they possibly could to run. They couldn't have done anything more. It's just this weather. And it appears that I never actually did a full outro to this video, so I'll do it now. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for your patience, those of you who have been waiting for it to come out. I'm sorry that it is late, and even though that we didn't have plan A, B, or we did get to see plan C was to go schooling, you know, I still think that we had an educational time and gained something out of it. So that is what I always aim to do. Keep putting one foot in front of the other, and we'll hopefully get somewhere. Anyway, have a great day, guys. Bye.